Quick question. If I told you that the safe investment your parents keep pushing on you could actually lose you money for 10 years straight, would you believe me? Yeah, it's true. Most people think bonds are boring, safe, the thing you buy when you're scared of the stock market. But here's the thing. Bonds are actually one of the most misunderstood parts of your entire financial life. And if you don't understand how they really work, you're probably making a mistake with your money right now, today, without even knowing it. Let's fix that. My name is Ricky, and I spend way too much time thinking about money, specifically the stuff nobody explains properly. If you're someone who's ever nodded along when someone mentioned bonds, but had no idea what they actually meant, this video's for you. Stick around. Hit subscribe if this kind of thing helps you out. Let's get into it. Okay, picture your own portfolio for a second. Somewhere in there, there's probably a slice labeled bonds, maybe 10%, maybe 20. You didn't really choose it, it just showed up, a default setting, something your 401k picked for you because you're supposed to have some. And you've never really looked at it, never questioned it. It's just there, the boring part, the part you skip past to check how your stocks are doing. Here's the thing. Most people treat bonds like background noise, like wallpaper in their financial life. You've probably heard the phrase stocks and bonds 1,000 times, like they're a package deal, peanut butter and jelly. You never really separate them in your head. But ask yourself honestly, do you actually know why your safe bond fund can lose money in a bad year? If you're shaking your head right now, don't worry, you're not alone. Here's what happens when people don't understand bonds. They panic at the wrong times. They sell when they should hold. They hold when they should have sold years ago. They see a red number next to bonds in their portfolio and they freak out because they were told bonds are supposed to be safe, supposed to never lose value. And when that promise breaks, people lose trust, not just in bonds, in the whole system. Some people pull everything out, cash it all in at the worst possible time, lock in a loss that would have fixed itself if they'd just waited. Others go the opposite direction. They avoid bonds completely for the rest of their life, which sounds smart until they're 65 and their entire portfolio is in stocks. No cushion, no stability. One bad year away from a real problem. Here's the truth nobody tells you. Bonds aren't dangerous because bonds are complicated. Bonds are dangerous because nobody explains them properly. And that gap between what people think bonds do and what bonds actually do, that gap costs people real money every single year. So let's close that gap right now. Here's what most people don't realize. A bond isn't an investment in the way you think about investments. A bond is a loan. That's it. That's the whole thing stripped down. You give a company or a government some money. They promise to pay you back, plus interest, on a schedule. You're not buying a piece of a company like you do with a stock. You're not betting on growth. You're the bank. Think about it that way for a second. If your friend borrowed $500 from you and promised to pay it back in a year with $20 interest, that's basically a bond. You loaned the money. You expect it back, plus a little extra for the trouble. Now here's where the reframe happens. If you loaned your friend money at 5% interest, and suddenly everyone else started loaning money at 8%, your old loan looks worse. Nobody wants your 5% deal anymore when 8% is available. That's the entire secret behind why bond prices move. It's not magic. It's not some Wall Street trick. It's just newer loans competing with older loans. Once you see bonds as loans instead of mystery investments, everything gets simpler. The fear goes away. The confusion goes away. You start asking better questions. Who's borrowing my money? How long until I get it back? What happens if rates change while I'm holding this loan? That's the shift. Small shift. Big difference. Let's slow down and go through the mechanics, simply. When you buy a bond, 3 things matter: the face value, the coupon, and the maturity date. Face value is just the amount you get back at the end. Let's say it's $1,000. The coupon is the interest rate. Let's say it's 5%. That means you get $50 a year paid to you, usually split into 2 payments. Maturity date is when the loan ends. Let's say 10 years. So you hand over $1,000 today. Over 10 years, you collect $50 a year, and at the end, you get your original $1,000 back. Simple, right? If you hold it the whole time and the company or government doesn't default, you know exactly what you're getting. That's the appeal, predictability. But here's where people get confused. Most people don't hold their bond fund for exactly 10 years and walk away. They're holding a fund, a big basket of thousands of bonds, and that fund is priced every single day. And the price moves, even though the bond itself hasn't changed. Why? Because new bonds are being issued every day at whatever the current interest rate is, and your older bond has to compete with them. If rates go up after you bought your bond, your 5% coupon suddenly looks weak next to a new bond paying 7%. So the market adjusts. The price of your bond drops. Not because anything's wrong with it, just because it's less attractive compared to what's newly available. That's the part almost nobody explains clearly, and it's the part that scares people the most. In a minute, I'll show you exactly what that fear did to one guy and what a completely different reaction did for someone else in the exact same market. Let's go a layer deeper. Cause and effect. Interest rates go up, bond prices go down. Interest rates go down, bond prices go up. It's a seesaw. Always has been. Here's why that seesaw exists. Money always chases the best available return. Always. If the government suddenly starts paying 6% on new bonds, and you're holding an old one paying 3%, nobody wants your old bond at full price. Why would they? They can get double the return somewhere else. So the only way to sell your old bond is to lower the price, enough that the total return, including that lower coupon, matches what new bonds are offering. This is why 2022 was so brutal for bond investors. The Federal Reserve raised interest rates aggressively, fastest pace in decades, and a lot of existing bonds that had been considered safe, dropped in value. Some bond funds fell 15, even 20% that year. People panicked. They thought bonds were broken. They weren't broken. They were just doing exactly what bonds always do when rates rise fast. Here's the part that matters most, though. If you hold an individual bond to maturity, you still get your full face value back. The price swings in between don't matter if you're not selling. It's only a real loss if you sell early into a bad market. That's the mistake people make. They see the number drop, they panic, they sell, and they lock in a loss that time would have erased. Understanding this one mechanic could save you from a decision you'd regret for years. Let me give you two people. Marcus is 58, getting close to retirement. He's got a good chunk of his portfolio in bonds because, well, that's what you're supposed to do as you get older, right? Less risk. In 2022, his bond fund drops 12%. He panics. He calls his advisor and says, pull it all out, put it in cash. His advisor tells him to wait. Marcus doesn't listen. He sells, locks in the loss. 18 months later, that same bond fund recovers almost all of its value. Marcus missed it. He's sitting in cash, earning almost nothing, having sold low and never bought back in. Now let's look at Priya, 29 years old. She's just starting to build her portfolio. She sees interest rates rising and gets curious instead of scared. She actually starts buying bonds during that same period, individual treasury bonds, locking in that higher 5–6% yield. 2 years later, rates start coming down. The value of her bonds goes up. She's sitting on solid gains, plus she collected steady interest the whole time she waited. Same market, same headlines, same scary news cycle, completely different outcomes. The difference wasn't luck, it wasn't timing genius. It was understanding what was actually happening underneath the numbers. Marcus reacted with fear because he didn't understand the mechanic. Priya reacted with curiosity because she did. That's the whole game, honestly. Not predicting the market, just understanding what you're holding and why it moves the way it moves. Okay, here's something most people completely ignore. Bonds aren't just about returns, they're about behavior. Here's what I mean. The entire point of holding bonds isn't necessarily to make you rich, it's to keep you from making a panicked decision with the rest of your money. Think about it like a seatbelt. You don't wear a seatbelt because it makes the car go faster. You wear it so that when something goes wrong, you don't get thrown through the windshield. Bonds work the same way in a portfolio. When stocks crash, and they do crash regularly, bonds are usually there to soften the blow. Sometimes they even go up while stocks are falling because investors run towards safety. That cushion isn't just financial, it's psychological. It's the difference between staying calm and staring at your portfolio at 2 a.m. wondering if you should sell everything. Here's the part that really gets me though. A lot of people skip bonds entirely when they're young because they hear bonds are low return, just do stocks. And sure, historically, that's often true over long periods. But that advice ignores the real reason people fail at investing. It's not usually bad math, it's bad behavior. People sell at the bottom, they panic, they abandon the plan. A small allocation to bonds, even in your 20s and 30s, isn't there to maximize your return. It's there to keep you in the game long enough for the stock side to actually work. Most people don't think of their portfolio as a behavior management tool. They think of it as a return maximizing machine. That mindset shift, right there, is worth more than any specific bond strategy I could give you. Let's zoom out, because this isn't really about bonds, not entirely. This is about your relationship with certainty. Most people want their money to feel certain, predictable, safe, and bonds get sold to us with that promise: safe, boring, reliable. But real safety isn't the absence of movement, it's understanding the movement enough that it doesn't scare you. Here's the thing about time. Over 1 year, a bond fund can genuinely lose money. Over 10 years, held properly, structured well, that same category tends to smooth out and do what it's supposed to do, provide steady income and lower volatility than stocks. The people who win with bonds aren't the ones who avoid risk entirely. They're the ones who understood what kind of risk they're actually taking and for how long. Interest rate risk, credit risk, inflation risk. Each one behaves differently. Each one rewards patience differently. This is where habits matter more than intelligence. You don't need to predict what the Federal Reserve does next. Nobody can, not reliably, not even the professionals. What you need is a plan you can actually stick to when the headlines get scary, because they will get scary. Every few years, something happens. Rates spike, markets wobble, financial news gets loud and dramatic. The investors who come out ahead over decades aren't the smartest people in the room. They're the ones who understood their holdings well enough to do nothing when everyone else was panicking. That's not a bond lesson. That's a life lesson wearing a bond costume. So think back to Marcus and Priya for a second. Same crash, same headlines. Marcus panicked because he never understood what he actually owned. Priya got curious because she did. That's the whole difference right there. Not luck, not timing, just understanding. Once you see a bond as a loan, not a mystery, the fear starts to disappear. You stop reacting to red numbers. You start asking better questions instead. That's really the whole video boiled down to one idea. Understand what you hold, and you stop being afraid of what it is. So here's what I'd leave you with. Next time you look at your portfolio and see that bond allocation sitting there quietly, don't just scroll past it. Ask what it's actually made of, how long until those bonds mature, what they're really doing for you. You don't need to become a bond trader, you don't need a finance degree. You just need to understand the basic mechanic well enough that it stops scaring you when the market gets loud. That's really what this channel is about. Not chasing quick wins, not hype, just understanding your money well enough to make calm decisions instead of panicked ones. If this helped even a little, consider subscribing. It genuinely helps this channel keep making videos like this one. And hey, next time someone tells you bonds are boring, you'll know better. I'll see you in the next one.